What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the Coach Grossman Dynasty here on NCAA 14, featuring that college football revamp, of course. We got a fantastic recruiting special for you guys. We are going to do some things that makes this one of the most immersive dynasties on the YouTube platform right now. We are going to scour conference championship, bowl games. We're even going to look at some high school highlights of some of your custom players that have not even signed yet. So all that being said, it's going to be a great episode today. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you have to be brand new, hit that notification bell as well if you'll really love what I'm doing, because YouTube is a little hoe sometimes when it comes to getting videos out to you guys. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it, starting with the conference championships that have been going down around the NCAA. So let's go ahead and get this recruiting special underway, starting with the Big 12 championship game. Right now we got Kansas State, who has Chris Hill, one of your guys' custom prospects, all the way from season 1 in this game, as that is a phenomenal sack on Maddox Comp, man. You know, using that speed that he has possessed over the past couple of seasons, he has really been putting together a really good breakout campaign and just really being a menace, as that's another sack for Chris Hill. That's his second sack already, and we're not even done with the first quarter, right? You know, so that is really cool to see, seeing Chris Hill making a big impact in one of the bigger stages. Now, the Big 12 did get a little bit diluted, losing a Texas, losing an Oklahoma as well. But I mean, there is still some very good, some very quality teams in the Big 12 conference, and we're seeing that on display right now as Cobb is able to get that run in. So thanks to the great defense by Kansas State that they've been enjoying, as that's the third sack for Chris Hill. Kansas State coming in as underdogs against the Houston Cougars. They come in with this 4-point lead and just continuing to rack up the stats. You know, Maddox Comp just hasn't had any running room today, and Chris Hill, he's been a really big reason for that, as there's yet another TFL for Chris Hill. And it gives, you know, Kansas State still having a narrow lead getting into the fourth quarter, trying to really finish things strong here. As we jump into a 1st and 10, we'll see if they can hang on, as Comp looking to his right. He's going to get intercepted. And like I said, that was Chris Hill that ended up causing that pressure, and they were able to use that to take the lead, force Houston one last chance to potentially win this game. And look who's there to recover that fumble. It's Chris Hill. He was all over the field in this game, and they are going to end up winning the Big 12 championship game. It was a fantastic win, a great, you know, really booster for this program. Really taking advantage of an Oklahoma and Texas-less, you know, Big 12 conference, as we will see Chris Hill help the Kansas State Wildcats win a Big 12 championship. And you already know that Chris Hill is going to be a vocal point for his defense next year. Look at the main tacklers, some big guys who stepped up today. Gavin Hasselhort, he's a senior redshirt. Marvin Martin, senior. Devontae Pritchard, senior. Braden Wood, also a senior as well. So that leaves Chris Hill 7 tackles, 6 TFLs, 3 sacks on the day, and then the icing on the cake was that fumble recovery that did end up sealing the Big 12 championship for Kansas State. So a very great game to start this episode from Chris Hill. So we move ourselves over to the SEC championship game as we take a look at Cruz Wakefield, the Alaskan wide receiver, who's finally getting his shot. He has now cracked the starting lineup for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And Alabama in a unique spot right now. They are just 1 game away from making it to the national championship game. They are extremely close. We'll see if they can end up getting there. And right now, early on, Alabama is going to go ahead and take themselves a 1 touchdown lead. They will take an early advantage over Texas A&M, but this was the kind of day where, I mean, the team played like crap, right? It just is what it was. I mean, when you give up 50 plus points, it's just hard to bounce back from that. Cruz Wakefield actually was held pretty quietly over the course of this game. He'll actually, end up with maybe 3 catches if I remember correctly. It was not a good day at all, as we will see Cruz Wakefield make that 3rd catch, picking up the 1st down at the very least. But this is just really not a game that they were meant to win. It just did not happen this way. They will end up getting a garbage time touchdown. Not Cruz Wakefield, but it is a touchdown for somebody. But Texas A&M, they win in a big way, man. We'll see if it ends up, catapulting them into that top 4, top 2 range. But yeah, this was a extremely convincing performance for Texas A&M, while Cruz Wakefield, not so much. So a tough day for really the entire Alabama football team, but Cruz Wakefield did at least get himself into the end zone. He ended up with 3 catches for 46 yards. Most of the love did go to the senior tight end, Bryant Reese, but that being said, though, Alabama is actually going to lose out on a national championship, which I'm sure most of you guys watching this video don't really mind whatsoever. Rounding out the conference championship games that your custom prospects are included in is Gladiator Aruba for Wisconsin. And look at that, just moving down the sideline. He's not going to get caught. He's going to have a clean jersey on the way for a 75-yard touchdown. That is absolutely insane. And we do end up seeing the quarterback for this team, Johnny Bostic, ending up taking the school record for most passing touchdowns in a career. So that's a very good look for Johnny Bostic. But we got ourselves really a back and forth affair right now. I mean, both of the offenses for Michigan and Wisconsin are both moving the ball extremely well. As Bostic will look over the middle, he will find Gladiator Aruba again. That is his 1st catch since he had that 75-yard bomb go his way. We'll see if he can get involved a little bit more here in this 2nd quarter. And sure enough, there's Gladiator Aruba almost making that bigger safety miss. And that's the thing about Gladiator Aruba, because he is so short, it makes him a little bit of a liability when he comes to trying to, block somebody. But he is somebody that has a really low center of gravity, and therefore he's able to use that to his advantage, just getting big play after big play. And he is a little bit more difficult to bring down than the average receiver, just because there's not as much of a receiver to actually go ahead and tackle. As there's Gladiator getting loose again, getting that beautiful bomb down the sideline right where it needed to be. And it will end up setting up another touchdown for Gladiator, as he's able to get those 10 toes down. That would have been an NFL catch as well. That is the crazy part about all of this. Able to get both feet down, and that would have been a touchdown, not only in college, but also at the NFL level as well. But yeah, this has been one of the more exciting games I think I've ever played, for the sake of the channel, right? Like, definitely back and forth. Definitely bring some vibes to, when St. Thomas made that national championship appearance against Oklahoma, for those of you that are OGs on the channel, as Wisconsin, they do end up taking the lead eventually. And with a chance to win it, we will see a touchdown for Sean Davis. So this really turned out to be a game of the ages. But number 7 Wisconsin, they do end up taking care of business, beating the number 17 ranked Michigan Wolverines. And we'll see if we got the player of the game, and we did. May have gotten a little bit lucky, but hey man, sometimes it's better to be a little bit lucky than it is to be good. And yeah, we're going to see Wisconsin win the Big Ten championship with Gladiator Aruba. So how about the game that Gladiator Aruba had, man? 7 catches, 192 yards, 2 touchdowns in this one. And this Big Ten championship turned out to be a heck of a classic for us here, man. I'm glad I got to play. It was the most fun that I've had, actually, outside playing with a team that I personally control in a Dynasty mode. So this was a lot of fun. One of the last games that Gladio Aruba will play. He is a senior, but he is really coming out with a bang. The best game of his college career. He really came through today. But before we go ahead and find out where our bowl game is going to be ourselves, definitely some great action so far. We got a couple of your custom prospects that did end up signing that I wanted to bring up to your attention. First and foremost, we have Sawyer Thompson, and I know it doesn't say that he's officially signed, but I mean, it's an 8,000 point lead, and unless there's something really wonky that goes down, he should be attending the University of Oklahoma, the 4-star prospect from Hazard, Kentucky, going out of state, but still playing in the SEC. And then another custom prospect that is getting ready to basically sign on that dotted line is Lee Watson. He is a 97% lock, but it's a huge lead between him and Texas A&M. He should be going to Appalachian State to hopefully catch some passes from John Ross if he does end up seeing the field in his true freshman campaign. Wow. So we find out where our bowl game is going to be, and I'm not going to lie to you, this feels like a little bit of a slap to the face. Now, last year's American Conference champion did go to the Birmingham Bowl, and it looks like the same thing will happen, except it's us that has to deal with that. We are taking on Vanderbilt in the Birmingham Bowl. They are 6-6 with a 3-6 conference record in SEC play. And we know what we need to do, man. We need to tear these guys to shreds. But that's going to be the next episode problem. We still got some more custom prospects that I wanted to show to you guys that are in bowl games, as well as some high school prospects that have not yet signed to a collegiate program. Now, on the bright side, though, we do have some award winners in our program. Eric Houston ends up winning the Chuck Bednarik Award. We also have him winning the Jim Forpay Award. That goes to the best defensive back in college football. So, multiple award winners for that guy. But, man, that is really tough to see. I am just shocked that we only get to go to the Birmingham Bowl. Hopefully, we can end it on a high note. But let's go ahead and get into the rest of this recruiting special for the bowl game action, as well as these high school prospects. Now, it would not be a perfect recruiting special if we did not have a little bit of memes thrown in there. And you know what? You already know what time it is, man. We actually do have a kicker custom recruit that did make it to the bowl game. This is Danny Daniel. He is a true freshman kicker at the University of Colorado. They did end up becoming bowl eligible, and they are facing off against Northern Illinois, who comes in ranked number 12 in the nation. And they are playing them here in the Independence Bowl. And, one thing about Danny Daniel, he's definitely a really accurate kicker. His power still needs to develop, and that's just part of being, somebody that's 5'5", not a ton of power in there. But he is somebody that, when he does end up getting in range, he is going to make his kicks. He's not going to have any problems or anything like that. So, he ends up being perfect on the day. Granted, he can only do so much, and his team does end up losing, I guess, as expected, to the number 12 team in college football. Actually surprised that they didn't get invited to a New Year's Six Bowl, but sometimes it just is how it is, and I mean, not really much you can do about it. But great performance, though, by Danny Daniel. So even though his team did not win, he did a pretty good job with his kicks overall. He ended up going 2 for 2 on field goal attempts. His longest was 28 yards, and then 3 for 3 on extra points. He was perfect on the day. He did not have to even make any tackles, which is great because he's only 5'5", and he's a very small man. That's why he's a kicker. But Danny Daniel had a pretty good day, and his role should only expand as he gets more development over these next few seasons. But now we are going to go ahead and dive into the custom prospects that have not yet officially signed on the dotted line. And we're going to go ahead and get things started here with 4-star prospect John Mcdaniels from Lafayette, Alabama. And the thing about John Mcdaniels, he actually has a brother who plays defensive back for the same high school. Obviously, he's at Troy, but for him, he hasn't made a decision yet. Now, one thing that does stick out to him, he's got some speed on him, man. He can definitely, make the right decisions. Pretty crisp with the route running overall, as we're going to go ahead and see John McDaniels get into that end zone there, as it helps extend the lead on Tuscany 17-0, and just for one half of play as well. But the one knock about him, that maybe that's why he's not getting a ton of college interest, despite the fact that he is indeed a 4-star prospect, is that he does play at smaller school. And because he's at a smaller school, he does play against smaller competition. So I mean, it's one thing to do well against these small high schools, and he certainly is a talented football player, but really what scouts are worried about, is he just like a big fish in a small pond, or does he actually have what it takes to be successful at the FBS Division I level? We'll find that out in due time. So speaking of wide receivers though, let's go ahead and take a look at another wide receiver that hasn't been signed yet, Henry Stiggs. He is located up in Rahway, New Jersey. And you want to talk about a just absolute eyesore? You got to look at, Riggs's measurables, man. He is a 6'9" wide receiver, man. So when it comes to, throwing that ball, for one-on-one, 50-50 balls, quarterbacks absolutely love that. He is a kid that can come up and make those catches, and he's a tough dude as well. Not only is he pretty solid on the football field, but he's also pretty good on the basketball court as well. I mean, unsurprisingly, the dude plays center for the Rahway High School basketball team, so you love to see those two sport athletes be successful, and it just makes that size that he has. Now, he does need to bulk up a little bit, but even right now, he has a pretty easy time of getting himself, through, some of those press coverages that opposing DBs can go ahead and garner. And he's a matchup problem too, man. The thing about him is that, he's too big for most cornerbacks, and he's definitely too strong, really, for, a lot of safeties. So, I mean, plus, he can go ahead, he can return some kicks for you as well. You love to see that in Henry Riggs as well. Henry Stiggs is what I meant to say, not the Oakland Raiders wide receiver that did some unfortunate things, but it is what it is. But look at this, still playing hard even when the game has already been decided. Coach still has him on the field, and hey, he's just still making those smart decisions. So definitely you got a guy that you really want on your football team. And speaking of guys that you want on your football team, we'll check in down in North Carolina to check out 4-star corner Jarmell Jackson. Now, Jarmell Jackson, unlike the first two guys that we did take a look at initially, he is a guy that has a ton of interest. I mean, you want to talk about some recruiting battles? We got a 4-way recruiting battle right now. It's between us here at Southern Florida. Vanderbilt is looking at him as well. Bowling Green has taken a look, and Old Dominion has offered a scholarship. And all 4 teams, of course, are still in it. And the beautiful thing about him now, he does not have very many coverage highlights, but it's not just because he's terrible in coverage or anything like that. I mean, nobody really tries to throw the ball. No one really tests him outside of maybe the little checkdowns, and then Jarmell will just go ahead and make the tackle, but he usually does not get beat deep. And the beautiful thing about him, even though he may be a tad bit undersized, he is somebody that can go about being a willing tackler. So while tackling is not his strength, he is known as a coverage corner. He is somebody, because he's a willing tackler, he certainly has a really high upside. And speaking of high upside, let's check out one of the best quarterbacks in high school football, John Gordon. Now, John Gordon, he is in Washington, D.C., playing his football at Gonzaga High School. And you want to talk about the prototypical quarterback? You got to look at John Gordon, man. You know, he is somebody that he can make every throw on the football field. Tight windows, no problem. You know, the kid just has that it factor. I mean, look at his stats to start this game, right? Taken down, playing against University Heights in Virginia. I mean, starting off 15 for 15, no matter what level you do that at, that is just absolutely insane, you know, being able to accomplish really something like that. Now, one knock on him is that it's not like he's not mobile necessarily, but he doesn't really utilize his mobility, right? He wants to be a pocket passer. He wants to pick you apart, you know, from the pocket, but he would have chances to go and scramble and pick up some yards, but will try to force something downfield every once in a while, and it's not a favorable result. So my college comp for John Gordon is really CJ Stroud. You know, his ability to really dissect the defense and make some great plays, but not really have that willingness to scramble, which is not even a bad thing to be compared to CJ Stroud, you know, because, I mean, with that being said, you know, that's somebody that is one of the best quarterbacks in America right now, and I think John Gordon certainly has the potential to do that. Now, as of right now, University of Southern Florida is the only school that really has offered him a scholarship, but I would not be shocked if down the line, you know, late in the recruiting process, then he gets on more of these recruiting boards, because this kid is special. So the last custom prospect that I wanted to highlight for you guys at the high school level and has not signed yet is 5-star wide receiver Kentavious Richardson. And you know what I'm gonna say, man, that dude is a bad man. When you're a 5-star talent, you know, you're just built different really compared to a lot of high school kids. He's able to shake off that one defender really without any regard for life, right? He is able to really get things taken care of, and honestly, the reason why he doesn't really have the gaudy numbers, you kind of saw it on screen a little bit, is that this quarterback really isn't that good. I mean, to be honest with you, definitely not a Division I caliber quarterback, to put it nicely, but despite that, Kentavious Richardson, anything that you need him to do, he can do it. He's able to be, you know, that guy that can return kicks, return punts. He can also be that speed guy and run that go route for you down the sideline. But then on top of that, even if there's a defensive back that can keep up with Kentavious Richardson, he has the size as well. I mean, 6'2", 200 pounds. He's able to use that to his advantage in one-on-one situations. He's usually the one that's going out here and mossing some people at the end of the day. So we'll see where Kentavious Richardson ends up going. But that being said, I am excited for the future of this kid, no matter where he decides to play his college football. But with that being said, though, that is going to go ahead and wrap up the recruiting special. And if you enjoyed it, man, I need you guys to go ahead and do me a favor. Smash that like button and also hit the subscribe button as well if you have to be brand new. Hit that noti bell on top of it, because YouTube, you want to make sure you get those stuff in your inbox, all that good stuff. We are going to play Vanderbilt in the bowl game next episode. So that being said, I'll see you guys next time, and until then, hope you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.